Welcome back. Let's start off with story number 1. Opie writes, I, 49 female, and my ex-husband, 50 male, let's call him Kevin, got divorced. And the straw that broke the camel's back was when I came home with a present for him for our anniversary, and he accused me of getting it from whoever I was sleeping with and threw it away. He didn't even open the present, which was a Rolex watch he had looked at multiple times and expressed he liked. I talked to a divorce attorney after this, and we filed within a month, and he moved out. I told my attorney about this, and he wanted to know where he moved out, as Kevin wouldn't list his new address. It was revealed he moved in with his new girlfriend, 50 female. Let's call her Jenny. I actually knew Jenny, as our oldest kids have been in the same class since pre-K. I also knew Jenny and her husband, 52 male, let's call him Terry, just got divorced right before us too. It takes a little over a year to finalize the divorce, since Kevin couldn't agree to any terms. A few weeks after the divorce, Kevin and Jenny went public with their relationship on a luxury beach trip. Terry sends me a friend request that I quickly accepted. I'll admit, at this moment I was being shallow, because he's undeniably attractive. He's 6'3", tan from working outside on his farm, and fit. And he messaged me right after, just asking if I had seen the post and blah blah blah. The conversation quickly turns into making plans to get dinner and drinks one night. It was Kevin's first weekend with the kids, so Terry and I went out. It sounds sappy, but in that moment I knew this could be something. It felt natural talking to him, and like I didn't have to walk on eggshells or tiptoe around things. He was the first person to actually look at me while I'm talking, and we agreed on almost everything. I invited him over after we left, and we had a few more drinks and watched a sappy love movie, and had so much fun making fun of how unrealistic it was. We somehow finished a bottle and a half of wine, so I invited him to stay the night. He offered to sleep on the couch, but I told him he could sleep in the bed, since I still wasn't sleeping well, because I wasn't used to sleeping alone. The next morning, I made us breakfast, and we agreed that we should do this another time, and that it was great. As we were eating, Kevin texted me that he was down the road to drop the kids off. Terry rushed to get dressed and left. I felt terrible making him leave like that, and of course the first thing Kevin asked was about if he saw Terry's truck coming down our road. I told him nope, and he dropped the kids off and left. That was 4 years ago, and shortly after that, Terry admitted to me that he wanted a relationship, and I said yes. We kept it private all this time, because it's really no one's business to know. As long as we were happy together. We just celebrated our 4th anniversary, and beginning in November, Terry started to hint that he wanted to propose, and wanted me to move to his farm in another town, since he lived an hour and a half away. Our anniversary was December 1st. And he planned a surprise dinner with all our friends to propose to me. I couldn't believe that he really did all this for me. All our friends were incredibly supportive and agreed that we seemed happy together and deserved to be happy with each other. The next day, I made a post that we were engaged. This was the first post about Terry and I on each other's page. Right after the post, we started to get calls, texts, Facebook messages from Jenny's family, Kevin's family, and Jenny sent a long message to Terry saying she couldn't believe we would do this and didn't check with them first, and how insensitive it was to get engaged when we knew her and Kevin were on a break because of the fighting. He ignored all her messages until we both got messages from my family saying we are crappy people for getting engaged in spite of Jenny and Kevin, and how they no longer wanted to see my children and wouldn't be attending the wedding. Terry started to help me sell my house, since he also works for a real estate company, and we packed all my stuff up and sold all the furniture and moved into Terry's house. I left my job and was actually able to get a job at his company as a secretary. He has 2 sons who treat me very well. They don't call me their mom. I don't expect them to either, but they do tell people I'm their stepmom, and they surprised me with a basketball mom shirt with their names and numbers for Christmas. I couldn't stop crying after seeing it, because it was so meaningful to me to see how they consider me their stepmom. Kevin had the kids for Christmas, and we were supposed to begin the normal split custody in January. Since the first of the year, the kids have said they don't want to see me, and Kevin said he's talking with an attorney to change our custody schedule and that he wants full custody. I am finally happy with someone that loves me. Planning a very small wedding with only friends and family that was supportive of our relationship, and have 2 new stepsons that love me, but I feel so empty without my kids. I took them to meet Terry, and he had been to dinner with us a couple of times, and he treated them like his own, and he never got onto them or was mean to them. I feel so conflicted about what to do. My kids won't even talk to me over the phone and refuse to see me. So, am I the a-hole for getting engaged to Terry? Edit. My kids have always known Terry and were introduced to him after a year and a half of us dating. They had no problem with us being together and knew about the engagement, as Terry took them to pick out the ring. It's not like he's a total stranger to them, as they've been around him multiple times and been to his house. I hope this can clear up some confusion. I plan to elaborate more when I have an update. Mini update. I was able to talk to my usual therapist about a session next week to help the kids talk and maybe help them understand the truth. It's next Friday, when I would usually pick them up, so hopefully it goes well. Let's get comments with replies from Opie. Not the a-hole. How old are your kids? I wonder what their dad/your ex is putting into their heads. While he's going for custody, you may want to go after him for parental alienation. He sounds like a real winner. Opie replies, 17, 15, and 10. And another comment. Question. Kevin's kids are not Jenny's? Opie replies, no, Kevin and I have kids together, and Terry and Jenny have kids together. Comment. Not the a-hole. Are your kids okay? What have you done wrong? Their dad is allowed to have a new relationship, but you aren't? Opie replies, they're okay from what I've seen. Terry and Jenny's kids have tried to be friends with them, but they have said my kids don't talk to them. I won't try to act like I've done nothing wrong, but I feel like when they started to ignore me, I started to go to Terry's kids' sporting events more. I would attend my kids' games, but they didn't even acknowledge me after or before. I felt useless going, so I didn't even attend the last game, but I still dropped off presents for Christmas, offered to take them to dinner for Christmas without Terry or his kids, and to just spend time with them. Comment. I don't understand why they have a problem with it now and not before everyone knew about Terry. I also think that your ex is telling them lies and would go to a lawyer. What did the kids say about you moving? Do they live with their dad? Or what's the deal, as you said Terry lives 1.5 hours away? Where are his sons? Do they go to the same schools? Opie replies, I told the kids about moving, and they said they wouldn't be totally interested as they like their current school. They are currently with their dad. Terry was awarded full custody after Jenny received a DUI with one of the kids in the car during their custody hearing. Jenny lives in their old house that he gave her after the divorce, and now he lives in a ranch house he built with the kids and they attend a school there. Comment. So I'm assuming the job you had paid well. You bought a Rolex just to become a secretary? Doesn't matter. Anyway, maybe try to get kids into therapy. Opie replies, yes, I used to be the director of accounting of a large company in the city where we lived. And here's Opie's update a month later. I'm not sure how much of an update this is, but here we go. To start, I'm sure him and Jenny had an affair when we were still married, and I really don't care to know. I don't let them waste any of my energy worrying about them and what they do or did. I probably could have worded the end of my post better. Terry isn't a stranger I pulled off the street and got engaged to. My kids have always known Terry, as his kids are the same age and played the same sports. I told them I'm dating someone after 1.5 years and introduced them to him shortly after. They've been to dinner with Terry and me, and been with me when Terry came over, and been to Terry's house where he lives. He's a very busy and hard-working man, so we didn't get to spend very much time together where I live or with my kids. So I would usually spend time at his house, but I never skip time with my kids to see him. Terry is a farmer, land real estate agent, owns his own business, and a volunteer firefighter. So that is why I decided to move there instead of the other way around. He has roots in his area while I was free to move. I did tell my kids prior to the move and engagement that I would like to one day move there. They did tell me that they really wouldn't be interested in moving there as they like the school they attend and didn't want to switch. I was fine with that and told them if I did, I would still like them to stay, even if it's for a weekend or when they're on break. Terry also took all 3 of my boys and his 2 to pick out my ring, so it wasn't a shock to any of them. Terry asked all 3 of my kids individually if they were fine with it before he even proposed. I was also asked about if they could come to his house, and yes, they could. Terry has a very nice ranch house he built with 5 full bedrooms and 3 empty finished rooms in the basement that could be bedrooms. They already stayed there too before the engagement and had no problems. Terry also has a room that he calls his office that he offered to clean out to make room for an upstairs bedroom, so one kid didn't have to sleep downstairs if all 5 were staying at his house, so they could have their own rooms and privacy. I didn't want to act like I was hiding my relationship with Terry, but we wanted to take things slow and not rush, hence why we didn't post to social media or tell our exes. Obviously, friends knew. You can only tell people you're friends for so long before they catch on. But we only told very, very close friends who won't gossip and tell everyone. And lastly, the last question was about my job. Yes, I went from a director of a department to a secretary. A secretary making just under what I made as a director. You all would be very surprised what small-town local business secretaries make. I'm a secretary/accountant for the land real estate company, as well as Terry's business he owns and his farm. I go to work at 2:30 a.m. with him and don't leave until he does around 9 p.m. and still have the farm chores after. So for everyone degrading my career, I work my ass off. Now on to the update. After that post and the advice, I called my lawyer who agreed that he can't keep the kids from me and that he was definitely doing something to make them flip like that. He did say we could go to court, but I told him I wanted to try and resolve it without court first. I'm not ashamed of it, and I'll admit it. I see a therapist for my own health. I talked to her about getting a session with just my kids and she agreed. I called Kevin after that to say I wanted to have a talk with only the boys and he could drop them off, but he could not attend. The therapist was able to finally get them to open up. You Reddit detectives were correct. He turned the story to that Terry and I had an affair for years before we got divorced and even tried to tell the youngest that Terry could be his dad because I was cheating then, which isn't true as I never cheated on Kevin in our entire relationship. I was able to tell the kids the full truth and I felt like a 50-pound weight was lifted off my chest. After, I had never been happier to hug all 3 of them. I made sure to express how much we missed them and are happy to have them home. And completely unexpected was all 3 gave Terry a hug next. Terry isn't one to cry about much or cry very easily, but the second they hugged him, I saw his eyes water up and I knew I was making the right decision and picked someone who loves these boys as much as I do. They spent the weekend with us, and I was able to tell the older 2 the full story about Kevin and Jenny, how the marriage fell apart, and once again invited them to live with us. They both said that they actually wanted to, but since Kevin had fed them lies, they didn't want to be around us. They get out of school in May and are planning to move with us for the summer. This will hopefully be a good opportunity for them to bond with Terry's kids and their friends. I will not be pushing them to move here as it's their own choice, but deep down I really do hope they do. I think going to a smaller school and living in a smaller town will be better for them than living in a city. I told my youngest a more watered-down version of events. I did make sure to tell him that Kevin is his real dad, and what he told him about Terry was not true. He seemed to understand it. So, for the moment, Kevin is fine with the boys moving here for the summer. All 3 asked him instead of me, and I think that helped a lot, showing him it was their decision instead of mine. To say I'm excited is an understatement. I'm over the moon with how much this is working out. I've talked with my lawyer, and he said the older two are able to decide where they go, while Kevin and I would have to come to agreement for our youngest. I don't want full custody, as I think kids need their father in their lives, but my lawyer is urging me to fight for full custody. With travel sports starting up, Kevin and I were able to agree on a temporary agreement of me getting the kids on weekends that they have games. I will pick them up on Fridays, go to the game on Saturday, and bring them home Sunday. We've been talking with lawyers about a permanent agreement. They were able to agree with the older two having a decision as long as they didn't miss anything required such as school. Some things Kevin has told the kids is that Terry is still dependent on drugs. To make a long story short, about 2 years ago, Terry had been having neck problems and saw a chiropractor for the first time in his life. That chiropractor broke his neck in 4 places, C4, C7, resulting in him needing 2 surgeries and becoming addicted to painkillers. He was on them for a year, and it took him another 6 months to get off, but he's been clean since of any prescription painkillers. Said that Terry and I wanted to take them away and never let them see their other family. Tried to accuse me of being addicted to drugs. I get even more sick and nauseous taking painkillers, so I refused to take any, even after a mastectomy and reconstruction surgery. And I also found out Jenny was calling them my boys and wanting them to take her last name. That is still Terry's because she refused to change it after the divorce. So there's still lots we don't know and hopefully will one day. And here's a comment with a reply from Opie. So you are moving to your boyfriend's area because he has ties to his community. You feel free to move, but are choosing to move away from your children? Did I read that correctly? Opie replies, my husband no longer lives in the same town and lives 30 minutes away, which is actually closer to Terry's house. It's only 45 minutes from there to his house. Gosh, Opie, what a story. What a story of sour grapes. I don't know how else a person is supposed to see that. It's sour grapes. Kevin and Jenny, as you say, were most likely having an affair before the two of you even got divorced. It would certainly explain his odd behavior when you gave him that gift for your anniversary that he didn't even open before accusing you of having an affair. This is not unusual. When people are having an affair, it's not unusual to, out of the blue, accuse their actual partner, their spouse, their significant other, that they're the one having an affair. You know, it's a way of throwing a person off the trail so they don't know what's going on. But at any rate, it's just too bad that Kevin and Jenny are having fights and that they're on a break, and whatever is going on with their relationship is not your responsibility. And neither you nor Terry should have to pay the price for that. You were already divorced. You were divorcing when the two of you started the relationship. Neither one of you did anything wrong. But Kevin, with all his lies, his very harmful lies, harmful to his own children, now, he has a lot to answer for. But anyway, Opie, you and Terry are happy together. You know, that's the important thing. And now the kids know the truth as well. You're on track now with your boys, and I think it's just going to get better and better from now on, Opie. Story 2. Opie writes, am I the a-hole for being upset that my boyfriend gave away presents I got him? Hello, everyone. Obviously, today is Valentine's Day, and I got into it with my boyfriend. So me, female 21, and my boyfriend, male 25, had plans to spend the day with each other and go out for dinner. We had exchanged gifts this morning. He told me that his brother, 26 male, did not have a Valentine this year. I said, oh, I'm sorry. Maybe we can all go out to lunch or something. He turned that suggestion down, so I had left it at that. Part of his presents were those boxes of chocolates and a gift card with 25 to a restaurant he had told me he was craving for the past 2 weeks now. He then tells me he is going to give the chocolates and gift card to his brother as a gift and claim he got it. I was upset because I'd got those for him. Because the last time I checked, I'm dating him, not his brother. But whatever, he gives it to him and goes on as if everything is normal and is wondering why I'm upset, even though I had told him how that made me feel. I also had an issue because we were literally at Target later in the day after exchanging gifts. Why would he not have gotten him something from there? I will say those two things aren't the only things I got him, but money is tight right now for me, and the fact he just gave it away. Since I was upset about it, he told me to go home, so I am currently at home typing this. Okay, let's get a comment with a reply from OP before we get OP's update. How cheap and lazy and dishonest and unappreciative is your man that is using your money and effort to try making himself look caring and his brother feel better? And seriously, who sends their girlfriend home to spend Valentine's Day alone just because she is upset about such behavior? I hate to ask, but how long have you two been dating? How sure are you that you're not just a side chick? OP replies, we've only been together a few months. I very well could be a side chick. I will most likely break up with him tomorrow or Friday. Too many things to do tomorrow to deal with him. And I want my things back. So I will probably do on a day I am free. And here's OP's update. Hi again, everyone. I ended things today with my boyfriend. Thank you all for making me not feel like I was being crazy and overdramatic. We were already having issues that I did not bring up here. He was not very happy that I had ended things with him, but I had to do what was best for me. I am already feeling better and feel as if I had a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Thank you again, everyone. Well, OP, I would also be upset if I were in your shoes and I gave somebody gifts, especially romantic gifts, and that person was planning on giving it away. I understand that you said it made you angry. It hurt your feelings. Of course it did. But thank goodness that you've seen that this is not the person for you. It's not the relationship for you, and that you ended it. That you were able to do it, and you say that you feel a huge weight has been lifted off your shoulders. It's just proof that it was the right decision for you. So that's it for this edition of Wild Drama Stories. Please leave a comment, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing. And I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Bye.